Dawn over the Tasman Sea. A lone spire rises from the swell, sheer basalt walls punching through cloud and spray. This is Ball's Pyramid, Australia's most mysterious island, remote, forbidding, and magnetic to explorers and scientists alike. Out here, scale humbles, wind howls, and the ocean writes the rules. Set 20 kilometers southeast of Lord Howe Island, roughly 600 kilometers northeast of Sydney, Ball's Pyramid stands isolated in open ocean, its position etched on nautical charts as a hazard and a beacon of awe. Geologically, it is the last tooth of an ancient volcano, millions of years of wind and waves carving a narrow blade of rock. Basalt flutes, jagged ridgelines, and dark, glassy faces plunge straight into deep water. Conditions here turn dangerous in moments. Rebounding swells, cross currents, and powerful surges collide on the rock, making landings rare and weather windows fleeting. Even on calm days, the sea feels restless, yet life clings to the ledges. Seabirds wheel in dense flocks, nesting where there is only wind, stone, and salt. In cracks and pockets, hardy plants take hold against all odds. Protected within the Lord Howe Island Marine Park and World Heritage Area, access is tightly controlled. Small research boats visit by permit, taking advantage of rare lulls to study this extreme outpost. Mariners mark it carefully. Sudden squalls, confused seas, and katabatic gusts whipping around the spire can test judgment and gear. Here, seamanship is patience and respect. Stories gather where charts warn. Shipwrecks in the broader Lord Howe region, near misses, and hard turnbacks in rising weather add to the pyramid's reputation. Part cautionary tale, part siren call. Below, the island drops almost sheer into cobalt depths. Pelagic fish patrol the blue. Divers with special permission document fragile communities sculpted by surge, shadow, and stone. At the surface, waves detonate against the base like artillery. Boiling, swirling backwash that can shove a vessel sideways in a heartbeat. The rock magnifies the ocean's voice. And yet, from this harshness came wonder. A species once thought lost on nearby Lord Howe, surviving in secret on the pyramid's sheltered plants, was confirmed here in modern times, sparking a global conservation effort. Careful study and captive breeding programs followed, guided by strict protections. The pyramid became both sanctuary and symbol, proof that isolation can shelter life against the odds. Human footsteps are rare. Historic climbing attempts are part of its lore, but today access is highly restricted to protect fragile species and to keep people safe on this razor of stone. Everything about Ball's Pyramid amplifies risk. Sudden wind shifts, refracted swell, and invisible rips that thread between rock and reef. The sea here can be flat one hour and feral the next. So why does this remote spire hold such mystery? Isolation, extreme exposure, and a unique evolutionary refuge collide here, turning a shard of volcano into a living laboratory. At night, the sky returns to silence. Stars wheel over black water, and the pyramid becomes a silhouette, a monument to time, weather, and resilience. As first light returns, the spire fades into cloud and spray. Ball's Pyramid endures, beautiful, perilous, and still keeping some of its secrets. East of Australia, an isolated arc of peaks rises from the Tasman Sea, the Lord Howe Seamount Chain. Born from a long-lived hotspot, these volcanoes built vast shield complexes that later eroded into islands, reefs, and pinnacles. Among their remnants stands Ball's Pyramid, a knife-edged relic of an ancient volcano, stark, vertical, and solitary against the open ocean. The chain traces a hotspot trail on the Lord Howe Rise. Over millions of years, magma welled up through the moving plate, stacking fluid basalt flows into broad volcanic shields. As activity waned and the crust drifted, new cones formed to the south while older edifices began to weather and sink. Erosion did the rest. Waves and storms planed away soft layers, leaving harder volcanic cores behind. Reef platforms and steep buttresses emerged where lava once flowed, and isolated stacks marked the last resistant pieces of a much larger mountain. Ball's Pyramid is one such remnant, a narrow, sheer-sided volcanic plug about 20 kilometers southeast of Lord Howe Island. Its spires and ribs are the exhumed innards of a shield volcano, sculpted by relentless marine weathering into a towering blade of rock. Conditions here are famously treacherous. The East Australian current and local tidal streams squeeze around vertical walls, throwing up confused seas and powerful eddies. Wind against current can turn the surface to whitewater within minutes. Mariners treat the area with caution. Nautical charts and onboard instruments, radar, AIS, and depth sounders help visualize shifting weather and sea state. But steep relief and sudden squalls demand conservative approaches and vigilant watch. Landing is difficult. With no sheltered harbor at the pyramid and swell wrapping around every face, most visits are vessel-supported only in settled weather windows. Vertical walls, slick with spray and algae, leave few options for safe access. For climbers, the rock demands discipline and restraint. Loose blocks, knife-edge ridges, and exposure combine with sea spray and sudden gusts. Even with fixed ropes or protection, retreat can be as risky as the ascent. Today, the Lord Howe region is managed first and foremost for conservation and safety. Permits strictly limit access to Ball's Pyramid, and independent climbing is generally prohibited. Scientific and tightly controlled expeditions may be approved under rigorous conditions. These policies reflect the site's ecological value. Steep, inaccessible ledges and pockets of vegetation support specialized and often endemic life. Minimizing disturbance helps protect fragile habitats shaped by isolation and harsh maritime climate. Weather is the final arbiter. Fast-moving fronts, low visibility, and steep wind seas can shut down operations without warning. Prudent plans build in abort options, redundant communications, and conservative sea state limits. Read the water carefully. Swell period, direction, and tide combine with cliff geometry to amplify or cancel waves. Around headlands and pinnacles, refracted sets and reflected chop can create chaotic crossings even on otherwise fair days. For those permitted to approach, the rewards are profound. Rare geology on a grand scale, a living laboratory of island evolution, and the unforgettable sight of a volcanic core rising straight from deep blue water. The story resonates well beyond the Tasman. Lord Howe's Hotspot Trail is a textbook example of plate motion recorded in stone, comparable in principle to chains seen across the world's oceans. Here, science, seamanship, and stewardship meet. Careful navigation keeps people safe, careful management keeps ecosystems intact, and careful study reveals how fire, water, and time shape these remarkable stones. From a hotspot deep in earth to a pinnacle scoured by the sea, Ball's Pyramid stands as both monument and warning. A geological masterpiece in a dynamic ocean, respected for its beauty, its power, and its protections. Night on the Tasman, wind in the casuarinas, moonlight on black rock. In places like these, life can vanish, or wait, unheard. This is the story of the Lord Howe Island stick insect, the tree lobster, declared extinct after 1918 and found again almost a century later. In 1918, shipwrecked rats reached Lord Howe Island. Within years, the giant phasmid, once common in the Palms, was gone. Field notes turned to obituaries. Museum ledgers stamped a single word, extinct. Decades passed. Occasional stories flickered, an insect seen on a sea stack far to the southeast. Most dismissed them. Ball's Pyramid was little more than a shard of basalt rising from open ocean. Then, 2001. A small team climbed Ball's Pyramid at night. On a narrow ledge under a single shrub clinging to the cliff, their lights met two glossy shapes, alive. The species had endured in the dark. The tree lobster is no twig. Adults are hand-sized, smooth, and mahogany black, with powerful legs and calm, deliberate movements. An island giant shaped by life without predators. Fewer than a few dozen remained, sheltering by day in a rock crevice and feeding by night on the lone melaleuca shrub. A population on a knife edge, yet perfectly adapted to that ledge. With care and permits, a tiny founder group was later collected to start a safety net population. The goal? Rescue a species without risking the last wild insects. In biosecure rooms, husbandry began. Fresh leaves, gentle airflow, and quiet. Eggs, like pepper seeds, rested in petri dishes and damp substrate, waiting months to hatch. A stud book tracked every lineage. Careful pairings balanced health and diversity. From a handful, the population grew, hundreds, then thousands. Each life a ledger entry in a plan for return. Why the pyramid? Island biology writes this lesson clearly. Tiny refugees can shelter big survivors. A cliff ledge became an ark and a single shrub, a forest. Myth versus fact. No swarms, no invasions. Just a slow, harmless herbivore, mostly nocturnal, exquisitely vulnerable to rats. Extinct was our conclusion. The facts show it was hiding in plain moonlight. On Lord Howe, an island restoration unfolded. Remove invasive rodents, protect plants, prepare habitat. Science moved carefully, step by step, so the return would be real and lasting. Today, captive populations thrive under watchful care, while plans for measured reintroductions advance. The work is patient. The signal is hope. This rediscovery reminds us, resilience lives in small places. But so does fragility. An insect can outlast a century on a ledge if we give it room to breathe again. Dawn over the Tasman. Rock warms. Leaves brighten. Somewhere, a quiet survivor steps from shadow to feed, and the day begins. First, the place, a protected marine and island sanctuary. The Lord Howe Island Group is strictly protected, World Heritage listed. Access is limited, and Ball's pyramid permits are tightly controlled, with no casual landings. Seas here demand respect, powerful swell and sudden rips. Always heed life-saving flags and local advice. Weather can shift fast. Small craft prepare and turn back early. So how to experience it? Admire from distance, licensed boats, experienced skippers, approved routes. Stay clear of nesting sites and fragile reefs. Only go with licensed operators. Obey closures without exception. On land, learn its story. Museum displays explain the geology, wildlife, and the rules that keep it wild. Respect turns mystery into stewardship. These protections work. Rare species recover when people give them space. Safety and conservation go hand in hand. Plan well, check forecasts, and follow ranger signage and lifesavers. And let distance deepen your wonder. Australia's most mysterious island endures, a sentinel of stone and life,